Hey there, it's Raven Scry, here to share another crypto reading with you all today. This one is also requested by Matt as well, and the two coins that he's asked for are Sunday Swap and Star Atlas. So I've read for those. Now, if you'd like to request a crypto reading, which I'm offering at the moment, please contact me via the About page of the channel and through the email there. Okay, enjoy this one. Okay, so I'm just going to connect into Sunday Swap, connect into the project and to feel into the trajectory into late 2024, 2025. Okay, asking Spirit what they wish to share around it. I feel as though there is an epic run that it has, but it feels like it's going to take some time. And I feel as though this is, in regard to. It feels in regards to, when the rest of the bull market is happening, but it just feels delayed for some reason. And I ask Spirit, what do they have to say around this? Because they're kind of giving me an emptiness and a nothing feeling. And often that can speak volumes to what they're speaking to. There's sort of nothing going on within the way that this is coming through. But as I ask Spirit, to give me more insight into this, talking about, not for some time, something's going to happen with it, it feels like, but just not for some time. It's kind of sort of undecided. They're not giving me a very positive trajectory just right at this moment. And it just feels like it's somewhat more delayed than other things, but also, I feel as though there's going to be quite significant things happening and taking place within the market, but there's some delay. This happens sort of afterwards. And I just ask for a bit more insight here from Spirit, giving me a bit more clarity as to the movements. So they talk about it being much later for future growth. Talking about other blockchains being aligned. It's like waiting for other things to come into play before it can come into play. So perhaps what's coming to mind is perhaps the blockchain that it's on. I feel like it may be Cardano, but it's like it's going to take some time. It's like it's waiting for some of the infrastructure to kind of take off before it does. It's the way that Solana will pump and then all of its coins will pump. It feels a bit similar in that way, but there is this delay that they just keep showing me. And I ask in anything else, that they want to show around this. They're just saying it's taking its time, and they're just giving me this kind of energy that doesn't have a lot of force in it. It's sort of a bit nothingy. It's like it's leaking energy. It's just sort of, there's not much force with it. It's like just staggering along in the way that it's coming through. But I ask, well, when we move into that time that it booms, it's going to move up. But if the sense that I'm getting is that it's not feeling or looking great at this time, and waiting till later on for it, could be good or not. Like it's just a bit empty in the energy that it has, and it feels as though it's almost moving due to other things. The energy isn't quite with it, is how it's coming through. And I'm just going to ask Spirit to show me something, because often, showing scenes, it can give deeper insight. And it's interesting because they've given me an ice cream now, and they've put it on the ground and they've put it upside down. So, that's not really looking very good right now. It's just kind of basically the energy is just leave it for now. Is how it's coming through. There is this possibility of later on we're having these kind of movements with its ecosystem, with other connections. But this feels later, like it feels like over a year from here is kind of the sense that I get. And so, it may be worth investing in other things that may do better earlier. But of course, this is not financial advice. You have to follow your own guidance here. But yeah, just feeling a bit empty. It's just got a bit of an empty energy with it at this time. And not until later does it kind of have some movement. But there isn't, it's like the energy isn't focused on it. It's like Spirit shows me a spotlight and it's kind of looking over in the other direction. There's energy and insight and focus in other areas, but this project, it's like it's not being seen. There's not a spotlight on it, is how it's being shown. So yeah, I feel like I'll leave it there for this project. And perhaps worth looking into it another time. But for now, it's just looking a bit stagnant. Okay. So as I connect in now to the second project that you asked about, Star Atlas, they're talking about needing to fine-tune the portfolio here. And they're showing me big spikes up and down, big spikes up and down. Okay, I'm asking, for significance to Star Atlas here, Spirit. Up and down. Talking about finding the resonance with things that work and following that resonance. It's like they show me Star Atlas being like it's like they show me a coin being Star Atlas, an example of Star Atlas, and boom, it gets lifted. It's like it's got other energies with it that are quite, have a lot of force behind them, can lift them up. It does feel like it's some sort of connection within the industry. It's like it's got a lot of light with it, but within that, it manifests a trajectory of being taken, like it's got connections, it's being looked out for. And in the way that the energy feels like it's like, there's a family and it's like it's being watched, it's being looked out for. And, unlike Sunday Swap, where there's no spotlight on it, there's always a spotlight with this one. There's interest, there's focus, and there's backing to some degree. And they just show me this kind of almost like this claw that comes down and picks it up. And those games, those like vending machine-y kind of games where they have the big claw and you have to, line the claw up and then it just goes down to pick up the prize, and it most of the time misses the prize. But if you can pick up what's there, you get it. It can be a bear or it can be whatever it is. But they're showing me one of those. They're showing me one of those machines. But in connection, they're just showing me this claw. It's like coming down and picking up Star Atlas and just taking it up. Okay, so I'm just going to ask when. They're talking about a great financial future ahead. But I ask significance to when will Star Atlas have this, be picked up like that? Like, when is this decent move? It's going to take time. They're talking about taking time. Things are developing. It's like there's a feeling of patience here, being patient. But they, it's moving along, and then boom, it just gets lifted. It's interesting too because it's like as I said, some of these have these spikes up, and it almost feels like many things are going to do craziness coming, but there is this movement, of the trajectory is moving along. It's building. Patience. There's work unfolding, manifesting. Everything's kind of playing out for this project, but then there's just this claw that comes down and picks it up. So it's going to reach a point that it just does some wild moves. Okay, so it's interesting too, as I look up, there's significance of 22. There's also a triple two in connection here. There's an alignment with that. So it feels like, yeah, spirit just comes in to show me those numbers as we're doing this reading. So I just want to ask Spirit now if they can give me any insight into price action or any numbers around price action for Star Atlas. Now, we're looking at, where's Star Atlas at? It's 0.005524 at the moment. And I was just asking where will it be going? Because it's moving up and it's moving to the side. And as we're kind of traveling up, then there's this claw that comes down, picks it up. I feel as though this is kind of late this year, and of course timelines can always change and shift, and there's different trajectories that take place. But at this current moment, I'm kind of getting this year, and it almost feels like it could be in connection to that September boom that was spoken about in the other reading. But just this, like this later on, but doesn't feel too far away in the way that it's coming through. And then from there, there could be some quite significant movement, just opening up to Spirit a little bit more for that. Yeah, it's like it has a big energy behind it that will just pick it up and move it. And they're not really giving me significance for numbers. If I'm just sort of asking them, they're not really giving me a lot. Just open it up a little bit more. They're giving me an 80 figure, and I actually want to say 80x, but I normally wouldn't speak directly to something like that, so I just, certainly follow your own heart with this stuff, but I'm seeing 80x as being, big movement, suddenly, bang, go. And it's like it's almost got something behind it, something's come out about it that's just made it move significantly. And it's almost like it's part of something larger as well. Like it's a part of something that's larger, that's doing very well, but this is kind of a core part of that in some way, is the way that this is coming through. But yeah, just this lift that it gets is very undeniable. And a bit more insight into this lift and what's actually taking place would be great. Spirit, can you show me that? They're giving me a scene of like cars, like all driving. It almost feels like some sort of game, and we know that Star Atlas is a game, but it's like there's these cars driving, and in the way that it's being shown, it's like these cars are driving, but it's almost merged with Monopoly or something. It's like there's a winning element, in some way. It's hard. It's difficult to understand what they're showing, but it's like they're blending this red car with this Monopoly board, and there's kind of reference to real estate in there somehow. So whatever's taking place, it's like very important. This Star Atlas is important in some way for some larger thing that's taking place, that's been developed, and it's kind of moving to the next layer, the next level. It's moving with the collective, but it's also got a lot of higher energy with it, and I want to say bigger energy that has a larger reach. Like it feels very abundant. It's high up energy. Of big business or something like this, is kind of how that comes through. So yeah, very interesting to kind of know what's going to come for Star Atlas, but like it does feel like there's big power behind it, and it could be very surprising when it gets picked up by this claw. It's a very cool image that they've given me here. Now I'm just going to ask Spirit, is there anything more that they wish to share about Sunday Swap or Star Atlas before we close the reading? They talk about, Star Atlas success. They're giving me a thumbs up with Star Atlas, and bigger, like it's bigger. So far it feels like they're giving me the most positive sort of feeling around all of the cryptos that I've read today, which have been Reef, which have been Opulus, which have been Sunday Swap and Star Atlas. It feels like Spirit gives the most warmth and the most energy to this one, the most positive vibe. It's bigger. There's a lot more energy with it. So just to keep that in mind, but always these things can change, trajectories, timelines, everything can shift and change. So this is as of today in this moment, and we'll just see where it kind of moves into. But as I say, anything else, Spirit, they're just putting emphasis on this project as being more significant than the others, and their energy is with it more as well. Okay, guys, that's it for those two projects. If you've got any comments, any thoughts, anything that came to mind, or any information about either of those projects, please pop it below, and I'll see you again soon. Ravenscry signing off.